so.
Okay, hi guys. Welcome, as always, running late. I know you're really shocked.
Totally shocking.
But we are here to talk about curves. And line work. And all sorts of other happy things, right? So that's what we're here for today. Line work is Tula Pink's most current line. By most current, I mean it shipped out of the Free Spirit warehouse Monday. It started shipping. First day of shipping was out of the Free Spirit warehouse on Monday. So,
ours will be in the shop tomorrow,
whenever
the FedEx guy comes, but not ready for pickup. You can probably come and shop it on Saturday because I got to pull all those pre-orders. A lot of people pre-ordered bundles, and
pre-orders are going to get cut.
They get done first because
and then it'll go out on the shelf.
They already bought it.
So, if you have been waiting anxiously for line work and haven't pre-ordered, you might wait till Monday because it may not necessarily be on the shelf on Saturday. But we have more coming. We have a second shipment coming Monday and another shipment coming the week after. So there will be lots of line work in the shop, but
we will have plenty, guys. And you can still pre-order.
Yes.
You can still place an order
the next day. So go ahead and look. So as far as line work goes, what we were able to get from Free Spirit, they're awesome. And they sent us 2 fat quarter bundles early. This is a line that has 13 SKUs. And so Jen and I thought about what kind of projects we could make with 13 fat quarters.
Right.
Mine, actually, want to grab that book?
I would love to.
Instead of using 13, I used 11 and then threw in a color and made a quilt out of this book. It's called 12 Pack Quilts.
It's a great book. These are all patterns based on 12 fat quarters.
Yes.
So if you have a small bundle,
or leftovers from a bundle. If you're like me and you love your giant fat quarter bundles with 40
you got
SKUs,
40 and you use 25 of them.
Here's a project with your leftovers. Anyway, but I only used 11 of the SKUs in this quilt because I threw in the green because Liz needs an accent and my favorite color is green.
Right.
For the outside of it, this is not a Tula Pink print, although it is called Fairy Dust. It's a V&Co background. It's her new Fairy Dust ombre.
Right, it's the ombre
background.
It's from her ombre metallic Fairy Dust line. This is the white background.
And so that's what this is. The only difference between my quilt and the book is that I added a 2-inch, 1.5-inch finished border right here of the white because I wanted my diamonds to float. This quilt is called 12 Carats, as in it's spelled carrots with a T because the sample is made orange.
Right, the sample in the book is orange.
It's also supposed to be like carrots, like the diamond, so it's 12 carats. And then I put my green border on. You will notice it is not bound, and if you've been in the shop lately, I've probably told you why. But that is because one of the 2 SKUs from the line that I didn't use is this fantastic black and white giant tent stripe right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I love stripy bindings.
Right.
And that is the binding I know I have to use on this quilt to make me happy. And so it's been patiently waiting for the fabric to ship so that I can bind it. So it should get bound next week. And I used another one of the wildflowers for my back for fun. So I do believe that Sarita is taking email orders for this kit. So if you're interested in that, email Sarita. What it takes for it, essentially, though, is a line work fat quarter bundle, fat quarter of the green,
plus the
white background and the border. It's not a big deal.
You know, and if you want us to put this together for you, but you're like, hey, my favorite color is orange, we can totally swap that out.
Totally doable.
We're good.
Jen, on the other hand,
I went a little crazier, guys.
She went a little crazy.
I decided line work, and while line work is an artistic style, not necessarily all about straight lines.
I think line work, and I think of our electrical guys.
Yeah.
That do line work.
Line work is more. It's a black and white style. You'll see a lot of line work tattoos out there, and Tula is a tattoo artist, so that's where this comes from. Anyway. I decided lines, let's go with curves, because it's a little unexpected in the quilting world, the curves.
Yes.
And they're way easier than they seem. They scare people to death. I was scared of them, and then I sat down in an awesome class and was shown how to do them, and I've loved them ever since. So I like to show people how to do them. Anyway, so I'm gonna pull this off Liz put some cute things on. So I used my Linework Fat Quarter Bundle and my minerals. So if you've been in the shop or on our website, we curated Fat Quarter Bundles out of Tula Pink's True Colors based on
the print,
not the colorway.
So there's the mineral one, there's a wildflower,
there's a hexagon one, and then there's a fairy dust one. Anyway, I used my mineral fat quarters, so I used all 12 of the colors, plus my 13 SKUs from Linework, and had a little bit of fun with some crazy curves. I didn't write a pattern for this, guys.
Because it's already written.
It's already written. Why write a pattern? I love these curved templates. It's a specific size from Back Porch Design. They have a 7-inch and a 3.5, and then a 3.5 inch. I used both, so the 3.5 makes the small circles here,
and now it's not gonna be
to go inside the 7-inch. So I used both, but when you buy the 7-inch templates, it comes with a pattern. Now I didn't make it the full size because I didn't want to. I made it a throw, so mine ends up as a 56-inch square throw.
But there is leftover here, so if you wanted to make it
leftovers,
bigger.
and with the mineral fat quarter bundle, there's plenty more, so you can totally make it bigger. This is just the size I decided to end on. I had fun with it, but you know, it was kind of funny yesterday. My husband was in my sewing room, and this was on my design wall. He just kind of sat there and stared at the wall for like 20 minutes. And he has one of my foundation pieced quilts in his office at work as his like wall art, you know, instead of motivational posters or whatever. And he's like, this would be really cool, like hanging on the wall. And I was like, I don't know if this one can go to work with you.
He works at the prison.
He works in a prison. It might be a little edgier. I mean, the mount hood is probably a little more professional.
Maybe it will be calming for his patient people. I would call them clients, but they're more like inmates.
Right. Well, they're both. Anyway, yeah, my husband's a therapist in a prison. It could be a little like Rorschach tests.
There you go.
It could be fun.
Anyway,
so this is what I did.
So there's two templates.
There's
the one that comes in, this one right here, you guys, is the 7.5 inch. And you'll notice those curves don't meet. There's a reason. We'll talk to you in a minute. And the 3.5 inch,
which comes separate
in a smaller
package.
Can you hand me that package? I want to show you guys something. Guys, I see this question a lot. When you buy rulers, quite a few rulers come with this brown back. And people are like, what? That back comes off.
Right, I see a lot of people try to cut with it still on. Just take it off.
Cut it off.
It's so you can read the ruler while it's in the packaging. That's the whole point of it.
When you buy it and take it home, take the brown paper off.
Right.
Just hint to the world.
Right. All right. So really quick, because that's really what it takes, we're going to talk about how to sew curves, because they do scare people.
Do you want a bigger one or a smaller one?
You can go ahead and match me up with a bigger one. But first I want to talk about how to cut curves. Now, I've got these great templates, and if you're like me, you might be slightly like, miserly sounds so bad. I like to be efficient with my use of fabric. I don't like a lot of scraps. And so laying out a bunch of these next to each other, we have a lot of loss. But like she said, they don't fit together. And that's simply because the edges shouldn't be the same size. Where they need to be the same size and match up is at the seam. So where we're going to do the seam. So if I lay these over each other and I put the black line on the black line, they match up. They line up just right and it's a square. But I need a seam allowance, so they have to be separate.
So there are curve rulers where the curve is the same, but they are curves that are made to trim after you put them together. Right.
And
this is made to be the right size.
These shouldn't have to be trimmed when
once you put it together.
Now, so what I like to do when I'm cutting them is I like to cut a square and then use these. So for this size right here, I would be cutting a whole bunch of 4.5 inch squares. If I want to give myself plenty of wiggle room, I might up that to 4 3/4, 5 inch squares. Partly because, and I'm going to show you why. I'm going to move Liz's stuff for a second. I know, but I want to show how to cut for a second.
Oh. She keeps moving my setup.
I know, she's making it look all nice, and I'm moving things. But I need a rotary cutter. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut a 5-inch square here, just so that we're good and generous.
I'm going to move her quilt out of the way. So
that would be great. I would hate to just slice into it. That would make me sad. So I'm going to cut a 5-inch square, which is plenty generous for this, but it's going to make cutting the curves actually so much easier to start with a square rather than just jumping right into the middle of things. Done. Because now my straight sides, I have one.
Ooh, good.
Now my straight sides here are all done, so I can just line my ruler up there.
If you've ever wondered what the point of a rotary cutter this tiny is, this is the point of a rotary cutter.
Anytime you need to make curves like this, I use this
18 millimeter.
Yeah, this is an 18 millimeter. I use this also when because I do still sometimes sew apparel. It's a nice way to follow the pattern.
The bigger the blade, the harder it is to turn on a curve.
Right.
So like I have a 60 millimeter rotary cutter too. I love it. It's only really good for straight lines. But this guy will come into the curve and just handles that curve really nicely. So I've cut that out, and now I don't have to like turn my fabric and try and cut the other end. Now I'm just going to rotate this 90 degrees, or 180. Grab the other piece. Put it on the other corner.
Line it up on the other corner.
And sew that curve.
And cut that curve. So that's the easiest way to cut these out.
And this is your waist. So
and that was really more than I needed. But otherwise, I'd have to grab a piece of fabric here and like try and cut all 3 or 4 sizes. And if you've ever been to any of my classes, I'll tell you, your arm is made to go 2 ways. You can go up, and if you're right-handed, you can go to the left. And if you're left-handed, you can go to the right. And those are the only directions you should cut, because it's the way your body's made to move. Other than that, you're gonna hurt yourself.
Don't cut towards yourself.
Don't do this. And cutting at the front of a template, it's easy. I mean, it's not
easy to be inaccurate.
It's not going to be very accurate. You're just better off rotating.
Hence the world of rotating cutting mats. They're popular for a reason.
But I find that this helps a lot with cutting out the curves. All right, so we talked cutting. Now I'm going to show you how to piece them real quick, because I think piecing is
for you.
Awesome.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
We'll do purple and polka dots.
Purple and polka dots. So a lot of times when I talk to people about curves, they're like, oh, so that means I just pin the heck out of it. And the answer is no, we don't pin the heck out of it.
I mean, you can, but it's not the most efficient way to do it.
Don't pin the heck out of it. I am going to tell you can have
3 pins.
3 pins.
Do you want your glue?
Oh, I'm going to show you my glue, because this is a really good way. I'm going to show you on a little one.
Okay.
How you can use glue to make life easier for you when you're learning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the center. A lot of your templates are going to have something to mark it. I don't find that that's the most effective way, because I've moved off the template. So I'm just going to fold it in half, find the center, finger press it, and then just in case I don't get back to it right away, even though I'm going to put a pin in it. Then I'm going to take my outside piece, and I am also going to find the center
and just finger press it.
And then I'm going to lay it over the top, laying it right on top of my pin. Now, it can be really easy to have this right here and this edge off scawampus, okay? So then I'm going to make sure that this is nice and angled right toward my corner.
Totally
it should be pretty square. Now, if it's not perfect, you're going to be okay. But this is pretty square. You don't want it way off,
because then it's going to be harder to stay on.
Okay, and then I'm going to pin it. Now, because we're going to do a lot of fluctuating, this is one of the reasons I like to quilt with long pins. I'm going to actually double it, meaning I've gone through the fabric twice. Like, it's pinned almost the full length of my pin. And that's going to keep it from wandering too much. The center is going to stay centered. Now I'm going to take my second pin here. I'm going to lay this on here so it's black.
And you match this outside
And I'm going to match the outside edge. So I want the straight edge along the straight edge.
After she pins these, we'll bring it up so you can see it.
And then I'm going to double pin it. Okay? Then we're going to go to the third pin. And again, I'm going to match straight edge to straight edge. And I'm going to pin that. If you want to go show them.
Okay. So it looks like there's a lot of extra body here, and it's going to work in. But that when she means double pin, you can see that she's going all the way down, and she's got her corners matched and the center matched. And after this, it's a matter of sewing. And look at that, you guys. I'm going to just show you this. It really eases right there. Okay, right. It's made to match up better than you think it is.
Right. It looks like there's a whole lot of extra going on there, but the truth is there isn't. There isn't a lot of extra. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start at this edge. Now, I like to have the outside piece on top rather than the inside, simply because this is where my bulk is. And if it's on top, I can see it and I can be in control. I can manage my bulk. Okay? So we'll go ahead and start right here.
If you are...
And I am going to leave the pin in because I still don't want this to shift out here. So just very...
And she's gathering the bulk together at the base. If you are local, Jen has another curves class scheduled for November 21st.
It'll be in the afternoon.
In the afternoon. So if you're local and interested in doing that,
you know, you want your handheld a little bit,
then feel free. She might even be demoing this project. Probably.
Well, it'll be there.
So,
okay, so I'm going to pause real quick. I just did that half. Now I'm not worried about it. And for the first time, I'm going to be worried about this half. I'm just going to kind of lay it out with my fingers.
And seriously, you hold the bulk down. You're going to wrinkle your fabric a little, but
right.
that's
But you know, then we're going to press and it's all good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, curves are not as scary as they look.
Even a little bit.
Like I said, there's a few different methods to use them, and it depends on the ruler you're using or the template.
Mm-hmm.
But there's another ruler that we like, is the QCR, and it's kind of a totally different method, and it's meant to be squared up later.
Right.
So it's fairly forgiving as far as imperfections go.
Now, these are fun, and I'm going to give you a warning here. These can be pressed to the inside or to the outside. It doesn't matter, and you don't need to clip it. Okay? Now, decide what your layout is prior to pressing. Because
it's over
these can be nested in. And in just a second, I'm going to turn this over and show you. But I nested all of these seams. And because I nested them, lining them up is so much easier. And that is what helps me get that perfect circle rather than broken edges.
So, but what you'll notice on this quilt, though, is that it's essentially a light circle next to a dark circle. And so she kind of probably went with the rule of pressing to the dark side. Although we don't typically tell people to use that rule.
Go with that. But I did kind of use that here.
In order to be able to plan for nesting or something.
And I did.
I got you a little one.
Oh, I'm going to grab another big one.
Okay.
Just for fun. Just for funsies.
So today the rulers we're using are from Back Porch Design. We're using the 7-inch and the 3.5 inch.
Right.
And we have more ordered, so if it shows us it's out of stock,
just get on the wait. Email Sarita.
Email Sarita and get on the wait list. But we're using the 7 and the 3.5 inch ruler from Back Porch Design, and like I said, the pattern comes with the ruler, so it's handy.
Right. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you. Isn't that fun?
Curve.
I love it. I'm going to tell you about a nice little way to kind of get your hand held while you do this.
I thought you wanted little.
It's okay. It's easier to show with big.
Okay.
Honestly, the smaller circles are a little tougher.
This is a glue pen.
It is a glue pen.
We use them in paper piecing,
foundation piecing with big pieces.
We use them for a lot of things. So this is a Fons and Porter glue pen. You can buy refills, you guys. It's essentially a narrow glue stick with washable glue.
Right.
If you're really, I know people that use Elmer's. Okay, it's up to you. But the pen is really nice because it's got the nice narrow head. You're not using the big fat head of the regular glue stick.
Right.
So this is a good trick.
Especially if you're new to this, and when I teach my class, I use one in class.
And it is handy for smaller curves.
It's definitely handy on the smaller ones. Now, this is what you can do when you're like, how do I control the bulk? I don't know how to lay it out. Well, before you sew it, we're essentially going to glue baste it. I'm going to just put a little line of glue along my curve here.
One's half at a time.
Right.
And she's going to finger press it kind of into place.
Right. I'm just going to...
And then instead of having to manage the fabric as it feeds through the machine, the fabric's already...
It's already
pretty
glued
much
down.
where you want it to be.
Right.
Okay?
And you need to keep in mind that where you're going to be sewing and where it actually needs to match up
1/4 of an inch in.
1/4 of an inch in from the edge. What's going on the edge is not your big concern.
These are the Crazy Curve rulers from Back Porch Designs. Is the brand and the type of rulers we're using today. We're using the 7-inch and the 3.5.
Yep.
And you'll notice on this quilt we've got our 7-inch pieces and then our 3.5-inch pieces, and 4 3.5 fill in the 7-inch block.
And to make the full size quilt that they have on here, they say 20.
Maybe you can't see it. I don't know.
We'll hold it up in a second because I want to show you the back. All right, see? So now it's glued. Now I don't even have to manage the bulk with my fingers.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's cheating at all to start by gluing them, because it's a really good way to get comfortable with how to manage the bulk, how it lays, and to gain some confidence with it.
Guys, there's no cheating in quilting.
No.
If it makes you more accurate.
No.
And it makes the process easier and more enjoyable.
Or it helps you learn.
You will eventually get comfortable to where you probably don't need the glue.
I didn't glue any of this one. And part of that was, here, go ahead and press this the other way so we can show how they nest. I didn't use the glue at all because it slowed me down. But I've done a lot of curves. So
I did my whale tail though, because they were smaller curves. I think I glued everyone.
Right.
And because I don't do tons of curves, I'm comfortable with curves, but I don't do tons. Jen teaches the class, I don't. You can tell.
I don't know how I got in that role where I teach all the classes,
but it works for me.
But it works.
So we have these two. This one, the circle is pressed out. This one, the circle is pressed in.
You'll notice it works just fine. There's no need to clip.
Nothing. You brought the right seam. And then these two seams magically nest together because we pressed one in and one out. And then we can end up with a nice flat quilt.
Right. So when I go to sew these together, like we say all the time, we match what matters. That's where I'm going to put my first pin. Everything else gets adjusted and fits. But this is where the first pin goes.
Okay, so Jen, we talk about the back of the quilt.
I want to show you that almost all of these are pressed to the side.
You can see this.
But this is out in, and I did plan ahead as I went through making this quilt.
Especially with these smaller ones right here.
They definitely matter. I had this on my design wall, and my sewing room's slightly bigger than a closet.
Slightly.
It's smaller than your closet.
My closet's big.
Right. Your closet's as big as my bedroom.
It's not. Well, maybe. It's just not long.
Anyway, so this was right behind me the whole time. So I'd sew the piece, press it, and then I'd look to see where my next one was. And I made plans as I went along.
Yep.
So it's helpful. Plus, you can actually repress if you went the wrong way. No big deal. But
like I was saying, I didn't know if you guys could see this before. These are from the 7-inch template, and these are from the 3.5-inch template. 4 3.5s equal a 7.
Right. So it's just a fun way to add a little bit of craziness
instead of just straight circles.
Right. Anyway. So anyway, this is my Linework quilt. We're gonna.
Neither of us went with squares, apparently, because I had to do diamonds. Guys, by the way, this goes together really easy. And the cutting instructions in the book are really good. This is essentially making giant square patchwork, okay? Except that it's not squares, it's diamonds.
Right.
And, we have a few 4 patches.
Right, she did the same thing. Small 4 patches to match a big one. Just hers are diamonds and mine are circles.
Yeah.
It's the same. See, we're twinner quilts, just different.
Twins are different. That's what we do, actually.
And, right. But, so for this one, we'll have some kits available if you want to order one. This one, I'm not making a kit because you need a True Colors Minerals Fat Quarter Bundle, which is only 12 SKUs. And a Linework Fat Quarter Bundle, which is 13 SKUs. And then if you have the rulers, great. If you need the rulers, get them. And you'll be ready to go. And if you want to know what you need for it and you come in the shop or you call, we'll help you get there.
That's what we do.
That's what we do.
Anyway, thanks for joining us, you guys. We're super excited about Linework's arrival. Also, for our super Tula Pink fans, pre-orders are up for Curiouser and Curiouser.
Right. We have the Mad Hatter
so
and
far.
the
Mad
Queen.
Hatter, the Queen, and there's one more.
I don't know. And
There's
there's
3
like the
on
Fat
there.
Quarter bundle.
So the first sets of pre-orders for Curiouser and Curiouser are now on the website too.
Right.
So anyway, we'll let you know about Tula Christmas though once that gets on. It'll happen. Anyway, have a good one, and we will see you all very soon.
Right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.